Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, was born into a Muslim family in the northern state of Kano in 1957. He obtained a business degree from Egypt's Al-Azhar University in 1977 and began his career as a trader at age 21. He went on to build the Dangote Group, one of the continent's largest conglomerates, and is currently worth around $15 billion according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The Nigeria-based company owns sub-Saharan Africa's biggest cement producer and has interest in sugar, salt, and flour, as well as a closely held food and beverage company. He also plans to build a $9 billion oil refinery facility near Lagos. Bloomberg News reporter Paul Weller sat down with industrialists to discuss plans to quadruple gas supply in the country, London listing next year, and the state of the Nigerian economy.
Do you have any plans to buy oil and gas blocks in Nigeria?
On a long term, yes, we will buy a couple of them, but right now we need to finish digesting what we already have been chewing before we jump into the next one. Even though, yes, on the purchase of the oil blocks, we have already bought two. As you are aware, we bought block 71, block 72. And what we are trying as part of our own contribution to Nigeria, we have looked at that. Look, even today, Nigeria has total about 10,000 megawatts of power. But the biggest issue and challenge is gas. Okay, a lot of this gas is being trapped between areas where from Boni to here. So which means in the east, we have the gas, but there's no consumption. But in the west, there's quite a lot of consumption and demand. And what we are trying to do is to build two pipelines of 36-inch of, east to west. We start, it's about 550 kilometers. It's going to be buried under the bed of the sea. And, it will be evacuating about 3 billion cubic feet of gas. At the moment, the total domestic consumption of gas which we have, or supply of gas, is 1 billion scope average. And we want to quadruple that. We want to take it to 4 billion. And we have also that as a project. So what do we want to do? Do we want to process the gas and pass everything? No. We have our own gas blocks. We bought some. We have partnership with some people, which I think is going to give us about 800 million scope. That will be the anchor project, which means that, yes, even if we don't have anybody, this can make us not to go bankrupt. It will make us to break even. We'll have enough gas that we need in the refinery, in the petrochemical, and the fertilizer. Then we'll be carriers to other people. And the gas will go to Delta State. It will tee up in Delta. It will tee up in a place called Olokola, which is Ogun and Ondo State. It will tee up in Lekki, where we have our refinery, and then it will connect to the West African gas pipeline. Having 3 billion scope of gas additional, it will sort out all the gas issues that we have today in Nigeria, all.
How much will that cost, and how would you fund it?
We're going to fund it. That will cost us another $2.2 to $2.5 billion, but it's badly needed. Actually, it's much more important than even the refinery, as far as I'm concerned.
And what sort of time scope are you looking at?
We are looking at about 2017, on December, end of 2017. It should be ready. One pipeline will be ready sometime by middle of 2017. We've gone very, very far, and I think based on our program, we'll start the purchasing of the pipes will be in September. So before end of this year, we'll start laying pipes.
And will you take on debt to fund it? You mentioned that.
Well, obviously, we'll take a couple of debt, but we have a lot of companies, right, from IFC, from Blackstone, from Carlyle. They're all very interested to participate.
Nigeria's obviously been impacted heavily by the fall in oil prices since the middle of last year. Could you just explain how that's affecting your businesses and also how it's affecting Nigeria's economy as a whole?
Well, it has affected the definitely, the Nigerian economy, but vis-a-vis our own business, uh, it has affected, but not very significant, effect. Um, we're in a specialized business. Eventually, yes, it will catch up. But one thing that you have to also remember, oil at $60, if Nigeria is doing what is right, we actually will do very well. We don't need oil at 110, 100, because it's not really a realistic price, so to speak. And can the country really do very well? Can the country survive? Can we cover all our needs at oil at 60? Yes, if we do block most of our leakages. The biggest issue that we have are actually the leakages we have in the system, not about oil price. Yes, oil price might not give us the mileage to do what we want to do, but that's why they say that always there is a rainy day and you need to keep some money.
Has the sort of or the slowdown in Nigeria's economy since the second half of last year, has that meant that you've had to, for example, slow down or delay any of your plans, or perhaps lay off some workers, for example?
We actually have not, and we haven't even really thought about slowing down on our major, expansion plans. When I said of major, I'm talking about the old things that we've been doing. Number one, the cement expansions all over Africa, including even new ones that we have just started. And we have not also slowed down on our refinery, which we announced. We are going the full hog. We have not slowed down on our fertilizer, which is urea and ammonia, 3 million tons. And we haven't also, slowed down on our polypropylene, polyethylene. What we have actually slowed down a bit is actually, the issues like the rice and the sugar, because there are a little bit of, there are few challenges. The challenges that we have is actually the availability of the foreign exchange to fire on all these cylinders. I mean, we have $16 billion worth of projects. Yes, some money we have in dollars, some we have in naira. So we cannot be unrealistic by saying that central bank must provide all the dollars that we need as of today. But over a period of time, we'll be able to, cover all those things. I think majority of the slowdown wasn't really coming only from the oil price. Yes, low oil price contributed, but if you remember in the last 4 or 5 months, as you asked me earlier on, it was mainly due to political activities. People were not sure who was going to win the election, and so everybody, people slowed down, said that, hey, let's see which government will it be. Jonathan who will win the election? Would it be Buhari? But I think right now, with having a very clear position that yes, Buhari has won the election, confidence has started coming back. People who have actually slowed down because of the political risk, which is now fully being mitigated, people will go back into investment.
You mentioned the availability of foreign exchange. Is that something that is it hard at the moment for your businesses to access the dollars that they need at the moment?
Yes, actually, what we have done now, for example, in our refinery, we intend to fund our refinery totally outside the, foreign exchange from the Central Bank of Nigeria. We are going to make it fully in an export-free zone, which means we will source our own, dollars. There are other areas which we have already planned to continue to source our dollars, and we have quite a substantial amount of dollars to carry on with our project, so we really don't have much issue. The other areas, because of the size of our company and also the seriousness that we have in adding value to the system, take for instance our cement. We have capability and the capacity to export maybe up to about 4 to $500 million worth of cement, beginning in the next. We've started, but we need to adjust a lot of the logistics issues. But by the time that we address the logistics issues, we will definitely be able to, earn maybe average of about $400 million every year in terms of export of, cement, which is almost like 85% local input. And when I say local input, because yes, we have spare parts which we don't fabricate here, and we have some of our expatriates' salaries, and there is something like gypsum which you don't have in big quantities, but otherwise everything we have locally.
And is the sort of fall in the naira and the sort of shortage of foreign exchange at the moment, is that pushing you to perhaps even harder to sort of source things locally? Or?
Well, that's a good question. We've actually seen it happen, because we realize that yes, this $110 price of oil is not going to be a permanent thing. It's going to evolve. Things will be changing. And since we believe that things will be changing, what we have said is that, look, let us turn this company to an export-oriented company. When you go back, you look at all the plants that we have in Dangote group, be it cement, be it petrochemical, be it everything is to do with earning of foreign exchange. So the intention of Dangote group is that by the year 2017, we will be one of the biggest sellers of dollars in the market. We will not buy one single dollar from Central Bank of Nigeria. And by the time that we finish most of our factories, which means the fertilizer, the refinery, the petrochemical, the cement, will be exporting anywhere between $8 to $10 billion worth of inflow of foreign exchange. So, I mean, we are totally transforming the business to be like an export-oriented business, because we believe that's the right way to go. And we want to lead, and we want other people to follow us, so that we don't really depend on, oil giving us 97% of our earnings in foreign exchange, and also 75% of government's revenue. We have to diversify the economy if we really want to have it easy.
On the exports, are you talking about $8 to $10 billion worth of cement each year, is it?
About $400 million worth of cement export. But group-wide, by let's say worst case, 2018, in the next 3 years, the Dangote group will be able to export about minimum to $10 billion of foreign exchange worth of goods.
When you say exporting oil, are you talking about refined fuel?
Oh yes, not oil. We are not exporting oil. What we are doing, the refinery we are building is 650,000 barrels per day. It's one of the largest single-line refinery in the world. And the products that we are having, they are by far much, much higher than the export.
As far as I understood it, do you have a license yet for the refinery?
Yes, we do. We've gotten our license for the refinery sometime in, I think sometime in January, February. We have. The government have actually graciously given us a license.
What's the latest with the refinery in terms of what's actually happening now, when it will start, and also when do you expect it to be up and running, if you like?
I think we still believe that we'll finish. There are other challenges like sand filling and coal, which is taking a lot of time, but we're addressing those issues. The soil condition is not really that great. We're also sorting that out. But we're saving quite a lot of time from long lead items that ordinarily they will take 30 months to fabricate, which means machinery supplies. That will also save us time. So mechanical completion, will have mechanical completion by end of 2017. We will be in the market with our high quality petroleum products by first quarter of 2018.
And at that stage, what capacity will that refinery be at, do you think?
In the refinery, we are doing all sorts of, from aviation fuel, kerosene, PMS, which you call abroad gasoline, yeah, and then diesel. All these products we will be exporting and will meet 100% the domestic demand. Whether the old refineries work or not, we have the capacity to meet up the demand of Nigeria's, we have capacity to meet up with the Nigeria's demand. So there are no issues about, and then in the plan, we have already planned that if the consumption continues to increase much more than what we think, we have also space to triple that refinery. And it means that we'll be one of the largest will be the largest actually single refinery capacity in a single location in the world.
That would be sort of almost 2 million barrels a day.
Yes, almost, if that happens, yes. But I think Nigeria, we're better off to refine all our products. I mean, as you know, one of the major challenges that we have in Africa is that majority of our raw materials, we export them unprocessed. So if you don't add value, people will give you, peanuts. But if you refine, whether it's refining, whether it is food or cocoa, you fully process and you take it out there, you earn much more money. So, and that's what we are trying to do.
You said you'll meet sort of domestic demand and then, I suppose, export the surplus. Where do you expect to, export fuel to?
I think what we will need to do first is to try and cover the regional market, which is West Africa. Then within the, sub-Saharan African market. Because as of today, when you look at it, the only good refineries that we have working in sub-Saharan Africa, there are actually two, the ones in South Africa and the one in Cote d'Ivoire. And we are not trying to export to Europe, even though our quality is Euro 5, which is the standard that they use in Europe. And I think those standards will also come here very soon.
You mentioned meeting domestic demand. Are you saying for, say, PMS, that you might be the sole supplier of PMS?
We might not be the sole supplier because they already have domestic refineries. And I'm sure maybe the government will look into, repairing them. But I don't know whether it is going to be cost effective to repair those refineries and refine products. Technology has dramatically changed when you look at 30 years ago to date. If they are going to really do something that they will make money, I personally believe they are better off to put up brand new, refineries, which I'm sure, yes, if we are able to do so, there are a lot of other Nigerians with deep pockets that can actually replicate what we've done. But see, there is that mentality that, yes, you don't make money at all in refining. It's true, but all of us cannot be in oil, drilling. Some have to be in the downstream, some have to be in the upstream. And I think with the size of refinery that we have, it will be able to give us a real, value for money. Yes, it's true, we won't make fantastic profit, but we will at least save our country from this shame of importing petroleum products on a single, almost every day. Because if you look at it, the money we spend on demurrage alone for ships coming, 300 ships waiting out there trying to discharge, it's enormous. And it takes 38% of our import bill, and that's not really acceptable.
Are you looking at any new countries for investing in the near future, and any new industries, perhaps?
Well, for now, what we are trying to do, we're actually trying to focus mainly on sub-Saharan Africa. We might do something outside sub-Saharan Africa, but for now, we have quite a lot that we're doing. And for us to be focused, and I think it is by far better the way that we are planning how to do our business. The only business that we take outside Nigeria and replicate what we are doing in Nigeria is to do cement. That's when we understand the business in and out, and there's a lot of room for growth, and that's what we are really looking forward to.
Just on capital markets, what is the latest with Dangote's cement's plans to list in London?
No, I think we will list in London. You know, what we are trying to do now, between now and maybe the next, 6 to 9 months or 10 months from now, is actually trying to address all the governance issues, trying to take us to the next level, where when we go now to list, we'll not really have any issues, in terms of changing of the board, the skill sets of the board, and who represents who, and so there are quite a lot of items that we have already met the criteria, but we want to do more so that we are sure when we get there, we'll be able to list. I think we'll be ready to list sometime towards ending of 2016 at the latest, and so which means any time between beginning of 2016 to the end of 2016, we'll be able to to list. We are not too much in a hurry to list because we are not trying to go out there and raise money. Our own is just to make sure that we create a world-class company, and that's the reason why we are going to London to list. It's not purely because we're looking for money. No, even when we list, the shares to be sold are not the shares of Dangote Cement, they are the shares of Dangote Industries, of which we need to reduce and increase the float of the shares being traded in the market, because right now about 91.5% thereabout is owned by Dangote Industries. So by regulation, we have to sell down roughly additional 11.5% to conform with that, and we're working very hard towards that.
What does a new government mean for your businesses? What do you think it means now that we've seeing a change in government for the first time in 16 years?
I personally believe that there's quite a lot of challenge on the incoming government because the expectations are extremely high. And but are they deliverable, especially the promises that they've given? Yes, but they have to be very focused and target maybe mainly few issues. I mean, the biggest issues that we need to target in Nigeria is that we need to tackle corruption to start with, security, because the lack of security is caused by corruption. Okay, and then we need to create jobs. Because once you do that, fine. But main point is energy. The electricity that we need to supply to the almost everywhere, to the industries. We need the small and medium scale industries to work. Without power, which is energy, they will not be able to survive. So I think if government can concentrate on this, the rest of the areas, they will come up. Education will come up, health will come up. It's like a trunk of a tree. If that trunk is bad, no matter how much you take care of the branches and the leaves, they are not going to survive. So these are the critical issues which I think we need to address. By addressing these issues, it will help to address those other issues automatically. Luckily for us, Nigeria has the highest number. 60% of the entrepreneurs in sub-Saharan Africa, they're in Nigeria. With that kind of entrepreneurial brains behind or in the country, you cannot go wrong. The economy can bounce back like yesterday. Simple, easy. And I am sure by the grace of God we will get there.